Good evening. A young boy and his grandmother are recovering in Perth hospitals tonight after surviving a horror head-on smash.
Two men lost their lives in the devastating collision. The highway remained closed for almost 24 hours as major crash investigators searched for answers at the confronting scene.
A caravan smashed to pieces. The ute that was towing it left mangled on the side of the highway.
You could see, appliances falling out the back of the caravan and the fridge and stuff, just like it was paper thin, it just looked like it had just been crushed. This horror head-on crash near Shark Bay killed both drivers, while two passengers were badly hurt, including a 12-year-old boy. A few of us in shock, especially people that were closer to it as well, because it's very horrific.
Our hearts go out to the families and friends and the community involved. Our thanks and appreciation goes to the first responders.
The grandmother and her grandson flown to Perth last night.
This was the most rapid form of transport available, and it meant that we could quickly get our patients to Perth for that life-saving critical intervention.
The Northwest Coastal Highway was locked down as major crash investigators descended on Hamlin Pool, trying to work out what happened. Motorists forced to park up at Overlander Roadhouse and camp the night, waiting for the only road in and out to reopen. A lot of us did have caravans and motorhomes that we could stay in. Quite a few people just had their cars, so you could see people kind of struggling there. With food and water, close to 24 hours. The two survivors of this deadly crash will spend a second night in hospital. Thankfully, their conditions are improving. The 59-year-old woman is here at Royal Perth, while her grandson is recovering at Perth Children's Hospital. 133 people have lost their lives on WA roads so far this year, the worst in years. The number of deaths on regional roads is climbing.
A rural road might appear more scenic, it might appear to be a little less stressful, but just because there's not the same amount of traffic about doesn't mean that there's not that same amount of risk.
Tonight, crash investigators have returned to Perth while two families wait for answers. Rachel Tassaka, 7 News.
WA Labor was back in campaign mode today, just a stone's throw from Secret Harbour. Today's location was Mandurah, where construction's finally begun on a long-awaited hospital. And unlike previous days, Roger Cook's candidate was allowed to speak.
It's taken almost 6 years to break ground. It'll take another 3 before it's finished, right in time for the next state election.
Whoopie-doo-dah, we've got to build hospitals.
Regardless, it's a win for Mandurah.
We're adding more than 110 additional beds to the health system through this project.
Not a cheap build. Taxpayers set to stump up more than $1 billion.
This new hospital will deliver more beds, a larger emergency department, dedicated mental health facilities, maternity and outpatient services, and new cancer treatment services.
Health still one of the biggest sore points for this government.
Ambulances are being ramped and being held up from responding to 000 calls. This facility couldn't come soon enough.
This was Royal Perth this afternoon, looking more like an ambulance car park. Chock-a-block outside the ED, vans spilling onto Lord Street. But it was Labor candidate Georgia Tree who stole the spotlight today, and this time the microphone. After being prevented from speaking at 2 previous press conferences, the Secret Harbour contender finally faced the media, confident the controversy won't hurt her campaign.
Hindsight's 2020, but I will say that we had a really tight schedule.
But her opposition was out, making sure their voices were heard.
I feel that there's a strong momentum and a strong push for change.
I'm feeling more and more confident. Like I said, the sentiment on the ground is fantastic. But yeah, at the end of the day, we have to convert it into votes.
We'll find out in 3 weeks' time. Francesca Danuccio, 7 News.
An Osborne Park gym has won a Supreme Court fight to keep its doors open after its downstairs neighbours took them to court over a noise complaint.
Perth Day Hospital tried to claim the nuisance of dropped weights was interfering with delicate procedures.
Tape down, iron up. A Supreme Court ban lifted so these gym goers can get back to lifting weights.
I have been checking my emails daily, waiting for an update, and you best believe the second I got that email,
straight here, as you can see, pretty much first one back here.
I saw the email, we text, we're like super happy, and we drove here straight away.
It's been 2 months since fitness cartel Osborne Park members have been able to weight train in daylight hours.
So we've been getting up at 4 a.m. We were still coming every day. Yep, but now it's much easier, so we're super happy.
Banned by a judge after the downstairs neighbours took the centre to court over a noise complaint. Perth Day Hospital tried to claim excessive vibrations from dropped weights impacted specialist procedures. It didn't work. After a civil trial, the judge sided with the gym, ultimately deciding the hospital was in a multi-tenant space and that the gym had a right to be there.
It's been one hell of a journey, but we are so overwhelmed and excited to get them back in.
The judge telling the gym it needs to be good neighbours and continue noise mitigation where it can. This bitter neighbourly battle isn't over yet. The gym is claiming damages for money lost during its forced closure. That could go to another court case, the bill to cost tens of thousands of dollars. Perth Day Hospital staying silent on today's loss. Cassidy Moscone, 7 News.
First home buyers who've cashed in on the federal government's 5% deposit scheme may soon face a reckoning. That warning from the Coalition, saying a house price freefall will push tens of thousands to the brink. And they're not the only ones predicting a price plunge.
At an Amazon warehouse, the acting opposition leader gets into a sticky situation.
All right.
Jane Hume coming unstuck, delivering her lines.
We need to support our small businesses with what's it called? I've forgotten it now. Isn't that terrible? It's an asset write-off. There we go.
On message when it comes to the property downturn.
A collapsing housing market is not a good sign for a strong economy.
Coalition analysis predicts 34,000 first-time buyers who use the 5% deposit scheme will lose $2.2 billion in value and go into negative equity if dwelling prices fall by 10% as predicted by Morgan Stanley.
We're not anticipating to see falls that big.
KPMG projects a fall in house prices of only 1.1%, but NAB says it'll be much steeper, 5%, with big drops in Sydney and Melbourne.
Negative equity remains very limited, affecting less than 1% of borrowers.
Government sources accusing the Coalition of doing its maths on the back of a napkin.
We want to see more first home buyers owning a home. That's what we're doing.
But young people are worried.
I can't see myself earning, what is it? Even a 5% deposit rate.
Tonight, KPMG's chief economist is warning borrowers still have to brace for one more rate hike this year.
We think that the Reserve Bank's in a rock and a hard place in relation to trying to tame inflation.
The RBA board meets next week. Josh Martin, 7 News.
An alleged victim of Alan Jones has told a court he's speaking out now to teach his daughter right from wrong.
The former athlete gave graphic evidence about a trip to Jones's home as a scared teenager.
Former radio titan Alan Jones is delivered for day 2 of his trial.
Whoa. Just stop pushing, guys. Just step back a little bit for a sec.
Up to 4 more months of this to go. The former Wallabies coach again pushing through a media scrum.
We'll be your left. Where are we going? Be your left. We're going to take left, all right?